I've been thinking, how do the laws get found when they don't know where to go? And I've been shaking, not many more twists and turns before I find the road. And I've been hoping for sunrise.
Hey y'all, Dr. Jazz here, and this is the Purpose Podcast with Dr. Jazz, where we journey to purpose
Just give me
together. And on this week's
sunrise.
episode, we have Dr. Ashley. Hey, Dr.
Hey.
Ashley. welcome to the Purpose Podcast. I know Dr. Ashley via my dear friend Shannon, that is also her dear friend. Shannon talks about Dr. Ashley all the time, and I said I must meet this woman. I must meet Dr. Ashley. So here she is. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Ashley, and as usual, we'll just get started. So Dr. Ashley is a career-driven mother of four. She believes she was destined to be a mother and be a boss in her career. I like that. She believes there are more moves to be made outside of motherhood, and it's easier to balance it all when those moves align with their natural talents and gifts. She has a PhD in higher education administration and works as a director of career advancement at one of the top universities in the world. Dr. Ashley leads a team of career coaches and employer strategists in helping students find their life's work, as well as helping employers with their recruitment strategies and finding top tier talent at their firms. When not fully holding down her full-time job being a mom, Dr. Ashley helps others find their purpose and take charge of their careers as a consultant with Dr. Mom Consulting. Dr. Mom Consulting offers talent development workshops for corporations as well as one-on-one coaching, particularly focused on career alignment, career advancement, and work-life balance for mothers. Additionally, has a course called the Dissertation Accelerator, which is a time management productivity course teaching mothers pursuing doctorate degrees how to finish their dissertations in 12 months or less without ever writing on the weekends and missing time with their families. Welcome, Dr. Ashley.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jazz, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. So I actually had a what am I trying to say? A interview with a student who is a mother who's doing her dissertation work. I'm gonna tell her about you when we
Yes,
get done.
please
Because
tell
she's
her.
actually pregnant to add to all of this. So she
Yep.
has a child, and then she revealed to me at the end, she was like, yeah, and I'm due in January, and I'm trying to get all this stuff done. And I'm like, oh my goodness,
Yep.
honey, how
And
are
it
you
can
gonna
be
do
done.
that? Yeah, and it can be done. So I'll actually forward her your information. So for
Please
those of
do.
you all listening, if you know someone who needs Dr. Ashley, her contact information will be at the end of this. Okay, so let's get started. Sorry, that's my little tangent. Dr. Ashley, my first question is always, what does purpose mean to you?
To me, purpose means your assignment in life, what you've been called to do. One of the phrases that I always use in my social media and my clients is that you want to be in alignment and on assignment. And when you're
Okay.
when you're in alignment and on assignment, life management becomes easier for you. I just feel like when especially if you're working full time and you're a career person, um, half of your waking life is spent at work.
Mhm.
It's so important that that piece is plugged in appropriately, a circle, fitness circle, not a square fitness circle, because once that's in place, things outside of life becomes easier. When you're not in alignment and on assignment, how you show up at home, how you show up at work is different. And it can be a lot more challenging. So really purpose is being in alignment and on assignment.
I love that. I wish I could steal it, but it's yours. So I'm not going to say that. But there are two phrases that you use that I want to ask you about. The first one is the in alignment, but I think I want to ask that one second. The
Mm-hmm.
second one is the life management. I never heard it phrased that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. So what do you, when you
Yeah.
say life management, what are you talking about?
Life management for me is just taking care of business, being adulting.
Okay. Okay.
That's what life management is. And I feel like I've used that word more after becoming a mother, particularly after becoming a mother of
Mhm.
4, I feel like I'm constantly in the mode of managing my life, managing for other people's lives, managing my household. So yeah, it's, I guess in slang terms, adulting.
Okay. And do you think you ever reach it? Like, do you get to a point where you're like, my life is managed?
Um, I guess. I mean, I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's an ongoing thing. So it's not like a destination, but it's a journey to life management. It's something that needs regular maintenance, that you have to practice and you have to do regularly. You have to have systems in place. You have to have boundaries around your time, boundaries around your relationships, what you commit to, what you decide not to commit to. So it's ongoing. It's not just a destination, but it's something that you need to commit to consistently.
That's okay. So I often say, right, the journey to purpose, it's always about the way you get there. And you're basically saying the same thing, but I'm wondering, like, can I achieve, because every time you had a baby, you had a new baby, right? So like you managed one child, and then
Right,
you have to figure out how to manage 2 children, then you had to figure out how to manage 3 children, then
right.
you had to figure out how to manage 4 children.
And then their
So
needs change as they
yes,
grow. And then
right.
my needs change as we grow. And when we pick up and relocate, there's a different set of rules in this new environment. And so it's ongoing as you grow. I mean, life management is ongoing. It's a journey.
And I'm wondering, how do you, because you do have a consulting company, and we're going to get to what in alignment looks like, I promise.
Hmm.
But you have a consulting company, and I'm wondering, like, how do you work with people in transition? And let me tell you why I'm asking. Because I moved to Louisiana in January. Well, technically December. Like, I came home for Christmas and stayed, basically. Um, and I was living in like 3 different cities, right? And now I live in one city and work in another city, right? So I'm still not really stationary. And I'm just remembering like what life was like when I lived in 3 cities versus
Hmm.
now that I live in one city, and like the management of myself, of my belongings, like where is that shirt? Like the management of things in myself and schedules. So I'm wondering, how do you coach people like who are going through transition? Like, because my life was crazy for about
Yeah.
5 months.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is relating to it. And I think, the question that I get all the time is, how are you doing it? Like, you have the fact when I say I have 4 kids is usually like, oh, wow, you have 4 kids. And then the next question after that is, are you still working? Because having 4 kids and working full time isn't the standard in our society, especially like working a professional level job. So I think my ability to relate to my audience, that, okay, this is something, if I see you doing it, I know that this is possible for me. So there's that piece. And really just, you have to just kind of write down what all you need to accomplish and then just chuck away at a chunk at a time. One of my strategies that I use to minimize overwhelm and to make sure I actually maximize my productivity is that I don't look at assignments holistically. I don't look at the entire staircase. Like, I may look at the entire staircase initially, but when it's time for me to actually start implementing things, it's truly just one step at a time. Because if I continuously think about the entire staircase, it's going to discourage me. It's going to make me feel like this isn't possible. I can't do this. I'm exhausted. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it up this staircase. But if I just look at the staircase just one time, just to give me an idea of what it is I need to accomplish, and actually break it up into pieces step by step. And when I'm working on the first step, that's all I'm thinking about is the first step. I'm not thinking about step number 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, nothing. I'm just thinking about the first step. And everything seems impossible until it's done. And then once you take that first step, you check that off that list. And you know how gratifying it is to check something off your list?
Yes, I do.
Especially
I
when
make to-do lists every day.
yeah. So I think that's so important is really just kind of looking at what you have in front of you and just breaking it up into chunks and just focusing on that one chunk at a time.
Okay. So my next question, back to your original statement, when I asked you, what is purpose, is how do you know if you're in alignment? Like if I am listening to this podcast
Yeah.
and I'm looking for my purpose, and I love your definition, but I don't know what that means for me. So how do I know what it means to be in alignment, excuse me?
Yeah. In alignment just means what feels naturally good to you, what is organic for you. When you think about your interests, when you think about your skill set, when you think about your values, what feels organic and natural to you? That's what it means to be in alignment. Um, one one resource that I like to recommend, that's a free resource, is 16personalities.com, 16personalities.com. And it's pretty much a career assessment, but it also talks about how you show up in your relationships. You know, there are other things that it kind of assesses you on just as a person. But I think that's a great starting point for you to understand like what is in alignment for you, what your natural gifts are, your talents are, what you like and what you don't like. And then also just thinking about what people often come to you for. You know, what do you often people often seek your counsel for X, Y, and Z. Are people always calling you up to figure out, you know, something's going on my computer and I'm trying to figure out my Excel sheet is not computing correctly. Is that something that they call you for? Are you often sought for relationship advice? You know, I'm having a hard time with my significant other. Or are you often sought out for career counseling, you know, things of that sort? So I think really just taking stock of what it is that I am often sought after for, and kind of using that as a window to what your purpose is and if you're in alignment.
That Okay, I have a lot of thoughts. I always have a lot of thoughts.
Okay.
So let me start with my first thought. The 16 personalities, that's a play on the Myers-Briggs, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I thought so. I just want you to know I brought that up only because I'm the same thing as Barack Obama. Okay.
Are you?
So
What's
yeah,
your
I'm an ENFJ.
Okay, I'm ESFJ.
So sensing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, instead of ENFJ.
And
I think it's intuition.
yep.
I think.
Yep.
But why would sensing be the opposite of intuition? Aren't those the same? ENFJ.
I know
Anyway,
I haven't memorized all the
I haven't either. I just know them.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like something. So J or T, I guess I do know.
J is
I,
judging.
and then
It's extrovert, introvert.
Yeah, and then is T or because my friend is a ENFP. I'm a ENFJ. So J, judging or perceiving is what it is.
Yep.
And then feeling or thinking. That's what it is. Feeling or thinking,
yep.
Judging or perceiving, introvert or extrovert, sensing or N must not be intuition. Because that's the same thing.
I don't remember.
I don't know either. Anyway, I really just said all that so you knew that I was the same as Barack Obama when I took that little test.
Yes, okay.
I don't want to be president though. I don't need no more responsibility. And then my second question, not second question, but my second thought is I think I never thought of it because I'm probably gonna steal this. You know, I say we do the same thing.
Okay.
I never thought of what people come to you for.
Oh yeah,
that is big. So interesting. Like, because now, honestly, because when you were talking, I was like, what do people come to me for? I don't know. I don't know what people come to me for. To vent. I guess I'm a good listener.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have to be what people, but that can give you a window to what it is. That could, put you on a path to self-discovery of what it is that's in alignment for you. I mean, I wouldn't say I mean, now that I have a business, people come to me for mom advice, but it wasn't something that people, I, I think if I had I would take that back. Yeah. So people do come to me for mom advice or, balancing career and family. But I would say the question that I get all the time is, which I mentioned, is how are you doing it from strangers? It's just like that is the $1 million question. How are you working full time with 4 kids and with a side hustle and living in a place where, you're not dropping the kids off at grandma's house or whatever. Like you're truly doing it with just you and your partner doing it on your own. Like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of times, your pain or your challenges can direct your purpose as well. So things that you have overcome or anything that is perceived to be difficult that you have mastered or you came out on the other side and you understand people want that expertise.
That's good. You got me rethinking my whole purpose.
Okay.
I'm like, what do people come to me for? What am I challenged in? Like those are really good questions because especially because this podcast is for people who don't know, right? And I think having those like if they leave, I mean, I'm gonna ask you what you want to know, but like if they leave here with nothing else, like you have 2 paths you can go down, that can help you get to purpose, and they're 2 really good paths. Which leads me to my next question: what is your path to starting Dr. Mom and knowing that this is what your business should be, and knowing that I really want to be the poster woman for work-life balance, and that you can do it all, and that you don't have to sacrifice? So, what was your journey like getting there?
So my journey actually started in my PhD journey. So when I was working on my doctorate degree, I went through a very difficult time in finishing the degree, particularly just challenges that I had with my academic department. So it was from that experience that I knew something was going on. And long story short, it was determined that I was arbitrarily and capriciously graded. So I was backed by, I'm probably giving too many details, but long story short is I knew I needed to finish my dissertation portion of my doctoral degree within a year before one of my allies retired. That was pretty much what happened. So, I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And plus I was just taking a lot of time away from my family just during the dissertation or during the doctoral coursework journey. I had a 3-year-old at the time. I had a I think my daughter, she was 6 months when I started my dissertation. So I was pregnant. So I had a 3-year-old and I was pregnant. And just during my when I started my dissertation, but during my doctoral coursework, I was spending a lot of time away from my family, my new family. I was like newly married. I had a baby toddler during this stage. And I was just tired of, working full time and then being away in the evenings on the weekends to work on school. So between that experience that I hated missing time with my family, and I started to resent like the doctoral process. And I started to think, is this worth my time? Do I still want to do this? Coupled with the fact that I was having challenges in the program. And, if I was going to finish, I really wanted to finish before my ally retired. I knew I needed to figure something out in order to finish this dissertation within a year. So I just started testing, like during my comprehensive exams was like non-traditional. So during that time, I just started testing theories as I was writing my comprehensive exam, time management theories and strategies and things of that sort to figure out exactly, what works for me. When am I most motivated to write? what time works for my family, you know, how long can I go? How long am I focused? I started like just really taking a deep dive assessment into how I showed up when it came time to write papers.
Mm-hmm.
So from that experience, I kind of narrowed down my, you know, what that looks like, what my structure would look like. And then I started knocking it out. And the thing was, I was always done with my writing before I came home from work or from school, whatever. I was always done when I came home. So when I came home from work, like I was so happy. Like I was just like, I'm home, everybody, and I'm available because I'm done with all my work for the day. And then to have my weekends free, that's next level, honey.
It really is.
Like I'm here for dinner. I'm here to tuck my kids in bed at night. I can watch all my shows and my weekends. I'm still living life guilt free. Like once I figured that out, I wanted to shout on the mountaintops, like mom's out there.
Yeah.
Your doctorate degree, this is what you need to be doing. And then when I finished my dissertation, like some people were just like, oh wow, you done already? Like what? Like
Yeah.
that was quick, you know? And yeah, so it was really from that experience, it was a challenge for me. Going back to what I said earlier, it was a challenge. I was motivated by, I wasn't happy with how I was spending my time and how my time was allocated between work, school, and family. And I wanted to get my doctorate degree and do it while I still had the backing from my appeals process and all that stuff. So I just powered through and I got it done. And the other thing about when you are turning in drafts like that, like your committee is motivated to work with you. It's just like you're a motivated students. Like good professors, they are motivated by motivated students.
Yeah.
Like this is the type of student they want to work with. So you become a priority for them. You know, it's just like, yeah, she put in the work, she's doing it. Yeah, let's go ahead and get her through, you know. So yeah, that's really how it all started, was the Dissertation Accelerator. And then from there, after I finished my dissertation, I finished my dissertation in 2020, but I didn't walk the stage until 2021 because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2021, I had twins, or I was pregnant with twins. I had twins, but I was pregnant when I crossed the stage. So now it's like, you have a PhD. Now it's 4 kids because I went from 2 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, oh, wow. Like, so now I want to know more about how you got a PhD, how you work full time, and now with 4 kids. So then that question started popping up. So then I just started expanding it from there.
That's exciting. I am impressed because I was in grad school. I still don't have nobody but me, but it wasn't nobody but me. Okay. And I was stressed. I was over it. But my program was set up a little bit different than, I don't want to say traditional, because it was a traditional program, but every year has a name on it. And year 5 is dissertation year. So you better get it done. You know, like it's not like this. It's not like programs where once you get the dissertation, you could just take all day. You know, like that money run out, honey. Yeah. That money, they be like, year 5, you need to get together.
Yeah, I wish my program was like that. Yeah, that probably would have motivated me. But yeah, there was no systemic structure in place that was motivating me to finish by X. So outside of, you know, what I shared earlier. So I had to create that structure for myself. Like I'm finishing before, you know, by whatever, I think March of 2020 was when I defended. Like I'm finishing this year. Like I'm not, and I wanted my life back. It was just like, I want to, you know, although I had it all figured out, like I just wanted that extra stress off of me. And then when I finished, even with 2 kids and work full time, I felt like I had so much time. I was like, I have so much time. What I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Watch this. Here's my drink. And he gave me twins. So here we are.
That's funny. So my next question is about focus. Because you have to be a highly focused individual to have 2 children at home, a full-time job, and write a dissertation and come home. What's it on my eyebrow? And come home and that's it, right? You have to be highly focused. So how were you always focused? Is the first question.
No.
Okay. So you weren't always focused. So how did you develop, what was it, a motivation? Was it self-discipline? Like, how did you get to that focus?
Yeah, it was self-discipline and like really taking stock of what I was capable to do and what time and when I was the sharpest. So I really had to evaluate myself when it came to sitting down and writing my dissertation. So I didn't write it down, but I just kept it up in my head as far as, could I wake up in the morning and write this? No. Like I hear that all the time. Oh, one of my professors, he would say, the best time, just wake up, before you get your day started and wake up at 5 a.m. and write from 5 to 7. And it's just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not waking up to write no paper, honey. Like I'm not waking up in bed in my sleep.
I wake up for something else, but I ain't waking up to write no paper. That is funny. That is funny.
So I knew like that wasn't going to work. So, and then it was evaluating like how long could I be focused? Like, so I had to, and I know like something big in academia is like the tomato timer. And I tried that for a little while, which is like, write 20 minutes, take a 5-minute break, 20, and do that like 4 times, then take like a 15-minute break or whatever. But even that wasn't consistent.
I never heard of that.
But that's you never heard of that?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people will say, do the tomato timer. The Pomodoro method is like I guess the official term for it. But yeah, that wasn't working for me consistently. So I really just needed to take stock of like what actually works for you. How long can you do this and when can you do it? And then once I figured that out, I created a schedule and I committed to it. I committed to it like I would commit to my class schedule. So like my writing time, I mean, it was, I call my writing schedule, it was a watertight writing schedule. Nothing was getting in, nothing was coming out. You know what I mean? So like if somebody said, hey, we're having happy hour after work, if that's during my writing time, then I'm not going. Just as if I had class, I got class. But a lot of people will say, oh, I plan on studying, but I'm going to come to the happy hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, my schedule was watertight. It did not move. And when you have a clear start time and end time, and oh, I'm about to get this done in X amount of time, like, let me just stay focused. I turned no cell phone, no, like, I'll see you when I'm done. I look at my phone when I'm done, no daydreaming. I'm just like laser focused because I got to get home. I got to see my kids and my husband, So yeah, so it was really me doing a self-evaluation, trial and error. And once I figured it out, committing to it. And I mean, really, like, it was almost like that schedule was almost like an oath for me.
Which it has to be, right? And I feel like most people that I admire that are focused are like that. They are very, because I used to be focused. I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting back focused. I don't know what happened. I do know what happened to me, but I'm getting back focused. And the people I admire that are still focused, that been focused, they are like, this is it. This is the thing. And that doesn't mean they're focused in every area of their lives, right? But for, the things that are important to them, they are consistent in that. And I'm wondering what that sacrifice did it mean anything in the moment, right? To be missing happy hour, or to be missing if you check your phone and maybe your mom called, or what, like, did it mean something? Yes, hindsight, like, it was worth it, but in the moment, because I think there are a lot of people that are like me that are trying to be, well, I'm back focused, but that are in this journey, that think they're missing something. So I'm wondering, did you feel like you were missing something in those moments?
I didn't, because the trade-off was having my weekends to myself and
Okay.
just having more control over my life and having energy when I got home from work and being available for my family when we all got home. So, yeah, to me, the sacrifice, the reward was so much greater than the sacrifice. I didn't care about no happy hour, or I didn't care, because most life events like happen on the weekends. So like, oh, I missed the happy hour during, like, nothing's really happening during the week for real.
Yeah.
Like, so I was able to do everything I wanted to do on the weekends. That's when everything was happening. So if I miss your birthday dinner that happens to be on a Thursday, you know.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
most people aren't like that though, right? Like, most people are
yeah,
like, oh, FOMO, whatever the young folks are saying,
yeah,
the fear of missing out and all that
yeah,
stuff. But I think what you said is important. Like, the reward was greater, and you kept your eyes on the reward, right?
mm-hmm,
The small rewards were coming home every day and being present. Then the
mm-hmm,
little bit bigger reward was your weekends, right? And
mm-hmm,
then the biggest reward was, I'm done with my dissertation.
yes,
And I think focused people have their eye on the reward. Like,
yes,
and that is what it's all about, and that's what it's worth. So I get it. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Can you tell me about your process to committing to the schedule? Because even that, like, everything you said is a hurdle for some people.
Mm-hmm,
Like, so yes, this is like my class schedule, but some people, well, I guess you do talk to people in PhD programs. But for the
mm-hmm,
people listening who are not in PhD programs, I don't have a class schedule. I haven't had a class schedule in 10 years. And you're
mm-hmm.
telling me, Dr. Mom, that I'm supposed to commit to this schedule, and that's not how my life works. What was that like for you, having to say, no, this is like my class, I have to go? And what advice could you tell to other people, like, no, you have to change your mindset?
Yeah. I mean, really, it was, my motivation was my family and my time, and just control back over my life. Because when I already knew not having a schedule didn't work for me. I was always exhausted. I had a lot of anxiety. When I relaxed, it never really felt like relaxation, because I always relaxed with guilt. I
Mm,
always thought, like if I took a nap, it's just like, or I would make the decision, do I want to write right now, or should I take a nap? If I chose a nap, it's just like, then I wake up and I'm mad that I'm mad that I didn't finish. So I had already done that for several years during the coursework process of trying to, just study when I felt like it, or, black out or procrastinate it and I know how that felt, the uncertainty with my schedule and my family trying to figure out, well, are you staying this weekend? Are you going to be free to do this? Are you going to, I planned on it, but I don't know. Well, what time is it? Well, it just created more chaos for freedom, and I
yeah.
wasn't really free. I wasn't really free until I buckled down and said that this is what I'm doing. So because I knew that wasn't working, I had to try something else. And once I tried it for really like 3 days, and I saw, okay, this how much I got done in 3 days. And then a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I mean, I was writing like anywhere from like 7 to 9 pages a week.
Oh, that's good.
And that's big, that's big consistently.
Yeah.
So, and my dissertation was over 200 pages. So it's like, because I saw, I knew plan one wasn't working, or plan A wasn't working. So I need to figure out something else. And once I tested it and did it for 3 days and then did it for a whole week, it was like, this is the life. And actually had my weekend to like that weekend was like such a reward. Like it was huge. So it was really just me knowing that what I have been doing isn't working and I needed to change. And once I saw the fruits of my labor immediately, I would have been silly not to continue the schedule.
Yeah. So y'all listening, just commit to it because it's gonna be worth it. That's what I heard. Just commit to it because it's gonna be worth it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So my next question.
One more thing.
Sorry.
One of the things which I talk about in my course is when you are trying to create your schedule and you're working full time and things of that sort, and you have a partner, you married or have a spot, whatever, and you're trying to balance the family, whoever your helper, I say your helper, whoever your helper is with your children, it's important that you communicate your schedule to them, or you all agree upon what your schedule is going to look like and what will this schedule work for the family. That was also important because it creates some predictability for your family. I wasn't studied for long periods of time. You know, my time periods were they were manageable for the helper to care for your child, because you don't want to overwhelm your helper being away studying for 4 or 5 hours. So I'm going to be at the library for 5 hours. Well, that overwhelms your helper if they have to manage the kids for 5 hours while you're gone.
Yeah.
So that was also just a key component. You have to get on the same page and you have to connect with your helper to say, hey, this is my schedule. And they can hold you accountable to that too. Like, this is when you study and this is when you not, this is when you free, you know.
Yeah.
That piece too. So yeah.
That's good. Can you tell me about so people ask you about how you did it all the time. You realize, you know, this 1 year accelerator program worked for yourself. Can you tell me how you decided to start a business? So you knew these things, you know, before, you knew they worked for you, you knew all these things, but how did that, because you could have just been like, I'm good at it and move on, but you decided to help other people. So how did that journey look?
So again, back to self-discovery. I actually thought that I wanted to start a business because I was just like, you know, I'm listening to, you know, podcasts and YouTube videos about just how much money people are making in entrepreneurship, how much freedom they have over their time and things of that sort. And it was just like, I want to explore this. I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur in any capacity. I always just thought that, you know, I would work a full-time job. And I think that's the reason why I thought that, because that's really all I had been exposed to. But now with the internet, you see, I'm exposed to more and I see what an entrepreneur's lifestyle looks like. So I started thinking, you know, maybe I could consider starting a business. So I asked 2 of my friends, one of them being Shannon, that you mentioned earlier.
Shout out to Shannon.
Shout out to Shannon. Like, I'm thinking about starting a business, but I'm trying to figure out like what my focus would be, because I thought that I would do financial coaching because I'm really like into personal finance and just getting your finances in order and just getting out of debt and things of that sort. So I thought it would be like financial coaching. And I had already was like doing like some little financial tidbit information like on my Instagram. And she was like, I don't think it's financial coaching. I think it should be like something around like being a career mom. And I was like, being a career mom? She was like, yeah, like, I think that's what it is. So without telling my friend too, what, who's Zuri, shout out to Zuri,
Hey,
what
Zuri.
it, yeah, what it should look like, or, you know, what my niche should be. without telling her what Shannon said, just asking her on her own, she also said the exact same thing. I think it should be something about being a career mom. So again, asking people. And then Zuri talked about, you helped me graduate with my master's degree. Like you gave me, because I already had, like, the Dissertation Accelerator wasn't packaged yet. It was just strategies that I used that I shared with her. And she was like, what you gave me, that was like tangible stuff that I used and actually got results from. Like, she was like, I graduated a semester early.
What?
Yeah, with her master's degree. Yeah, she was like, that's what you need to be focusing on. And so again, what are people coming to you for? What do people see you doing?
Yeah.
That kind of helped guide me into this space. And it was just like, okay, well, maybe I should do a dissertation and create like a time management productivity course on being a mother and going to school. Now, although she wasn't getting her doctorate, but she was getting her master's. And, she was like, yeah, I got results from this. Like, this is what you should be doing. You should be packaging this right here.
That's dope that people saw that in you. Number one, I feel like I yelled when I started back talking. I'm sorry. It's really loud on this podcast. So that's dope that first off, people saw it in you. And second, that you already had it in you. And that's something that you talked about at the very beginning. Like, what naturally are you doing? Like, it doesn't have to be a reach. It doesn't have to be a reach. It's just something that you're naturally doing. And I think that is so dope that people were like, no, it needs to be over career and mom.
Yeah.
And this is what you need to do. That is so dope. I think I'm just so excited that somebody graduated a whole semester early because of this. So if you need help, you need to talk to Dr. Ashely, okay? Because that is, I never really heard of people graduating, or how she do that. I'm sorry, it ain't none of our business, but
she was able to finish her coursework. I think she just took extra classes, like once she was able to manage, and she figured out how much she could accomplish in a study session. Then it's just like, oh, I don't need to take 6 credits, or maybe she was only taking 3 credits. And she was like, maybe I could take 6 credits this semester. And yeah, once you manage your time, it's amazing. Like I often think about, like, although I don't shame people who are still trying to figure it out, who don't have children or whatever, but I often think about like how much time I had when I didn't have kids, and like how much I could have accomplished, like, and just how much I'm accomplishing now in 24 hours. It just blows my mind. So yeah, when you have a schedule and you have focus, like, it's amazing what you can accomplish. Like, and you have that discipline, like, that's the cheat code. Like, discipline is the cheat code.
Yeah. How do you develop discipline, Dr. Ashely?
I think it's just something you have to want to do.
Okay.
You really have to look yourself in the mirror and realize, what is what you're doing now, what is it costing you?
What is it costing me?
What is it costing you right now?
This ain't about me, but you've been talking to me this whole time. Keep going. Let me drink my tea, literally.
Yeah, you really have to think about, what is this costing you right now?
Yeah.
And, and I kind of shared that earlier I was missing time with my family. I was anxious all the time. I couldn't even relax in peace. Couldn't even enjoy my show when I sat down and watched my show, because I'm thinking about how I need to be writing, so when it's costing you your peace and your relaxation and your time, it costs too much.
Yeah.
It costs too much. It's too expensive. So you really have to think about, what is it costing you? If this is something that you truly want to change, then you need to come to terms with that and say, okay, I need to create some discipline in my life. I need to get on a schedule. I need to commit to this. And I think, some people like to, I kind of like to move in silence too, to a certain degree, but I think sometimes just sharing what you're doing can be an accountability tool, I should say.
You have to, I just tell people to share with the right people. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Because you need people, right? Because people have ideas, people know things you don't know, people know people you don't know. So you need people. People are a resource. But you just got to tell the right people. That's what I always say. And I think that's a good question. Like, what is it costing you? Because I think a lot of times when we think about discipline, we think about, how can I say this to distinguish from what you're saying? We think about what is costing us in the moment, if that makes sense. And I think what you're saying is, what is it costing me in the long run, right? So when I choose to lack discipline in time, in the moment, I don't get to watch Love is Blind, right? And we think about the fact that we can't watch Love is Blind, instead of thinking about the fact that I'm going to be anxious in 2 days because I did not do what I needed to do. So it's two different costs. And I think that's interesting to focus on that cost.
Yeah, it's
like,
really just making a decision between what you want now versus what you want most.
Yeah. Oh, you've been dropping. I had already decided what your quote was, but you done switched it up on me. No. What you want now versus what you want to know. I think that is so big. So for me, my self-discipline area that I lack in is my eating. I have because I don't have it no more. I'm actively working on it, a sugar issue, like most Americans. Even though you're not eating candy like me, you drinking sodas, you eating white bread, like all that sugar, right? Salad dressing, you think you're doing good, sugar. So I have begun to think about the life I want to live. So today I'm healthy. Today I can run. Today I can jump. Today I can do all these things. But there are so many diseases linked to sugar overload, not just diabetes, right? Alzheimer's is now being linked to sugar. Like there one study I heard somebody talk about, I ain't reading myself, but in one study said that it's about to be like they're about to name it diabetes type 3. Like that's how crazy it is. So those are the things that I think about. So that makes so much sense. Like today, I just want a cookie because I'm craving sugar. But when I'm 65, because they say 20 and 30-year-olds are actually showing signs of Alzheimer's in America because of sugar. I don't know about you, but I'm good. My grandfather had Alzheimer's. I've seen it, right? People in my family have diabetes. I've seen it, you know? And so that what has changed me. I can get rid of dairy. I can get rid of meat. All that stuff was easy for me. And sugar, oh my God. Oh my God. But thinking of the then is what's helping me in the now. So yeah, that's good. Sorry, Dr. Ashley. I ain't call you that this whole time. But Dr. Ashley, that's really good. Think about the what'd you say? The then?
Is making a decision between what you want now versus what you want most.
What you want now, what you want most. What I want most is to be healthy and not have Alzheimer's. I want a healthy brain. So that's good. Yeah, that ain't gonna be your quote though. I still got your quote.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. So my which you kind of already answered it, but yeah, my last question is, what is your purpose? Like, if somebody just walked up to you randomly, which I'm pretty sure they wouldn't, and say, "What's your purpose?" Like to ask it.
I think high level, my purpose is to train and coach others to do their life's work. I mean, to walk in their purpose. I mean, that's truly what I feel like I'm destined to do in this life. I feel like that's what my natural gifts are, is training, coaching, motivating others. I'm niched down based off of my experience. You know, my experience is in career coaching and counseling. My experience is in balancing family, work, school. My experience is being the small percentage of working mother
Mhm.
4 or more kids. So that's what pinpointed, what my niche is. But my skills and what I enjoy doing, what comes natural to me, what feels very organic, and what fills me up is helping others achieve their goals.
I love that. That's what fills me up too. We need to work together. We gotta figure out a way we can work together because that's what fills me up too. It's not about me, but that's what fills me up. And I think that's an interesting way to describe it. Like your verbiage around purpose, and I've heard it talked about 8 million times. I do the podcast, right? Your verbiage is some of the most inspiring way to talk about purpose than I've heard. It makes purpose not seem like this lofty burden, but seem like inspired. Like I get to do that, and people have said that on a podcast, like I get to do it, I don't have to do it. But your verbiage is chef's kiss. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is. I really have enjoyed this conversation around her. I really have. I enjoy all episodes. Let me be clear. I enjoy all episodes. But it's just the way you describe it. Yeah. In alignment, what you care about now versus what you care about most. There was a part, I don't remember what it was, but I remember when I started listening to it, I was like, man, that was good too. Like there was just so many. And I don't think that these are things that they just flow out of you. That's all I'm saying. They just flow out of you. So yeah, that's
thank you.
Yeah, like it's just exciting to hear because now I'm like, man, let me get my life together myself, So about what I care about most. So that was really good. Okay. So my last question, as usual, is if people leave this podcast with nothing else, if they listened to us for 40-something minutes and they heard all the great things you had to say and they still are floundering, if they leave here with nothing else, what would you like them to know?
Do not underestimate the power of your gifts. When you are in alignment and on assignment, life stops happening to you and begins to happen for you.
And there's another one. Okay, so I know that I said that's the end of the podcast, but I think that's so interesting because a lot of people I know that are, and I don't want to say talented, I want to use the word you use, gifted, don't realize how gifted they are.
Yes.
So that is so powerful that you are telling people whatever that sliver of a gift you have, make sure you don't underestimate it.
Do not underestimate it because it is people out here that's doing mediocre work who's not as good as you and they're profiting from it and they are very confident about it. So do not underestimate. They're probably doing it and they're not even gifted doing it. They're just doing it because it
can make them some money.
Yeah, it can make them some money.
Yeah.
So do not underestimate your story, your gifts. Your pain could be used for purpose. Your challenges, people want to learn from. Like, oh my gosh, just do not underestimate that at all.
That's good. Well, y'all, this concludes another wonderful episode of the Purpose Podcast with Dr. Jazz, where we journey to purpose together. Thank you, Dr. Ashely, for being here.
Thank you.
And if you want to know anything about her, it's going to be in the description box. You can find out about her business. I don't know if we ain't discussed her personal Instagram, but you can find out about her business below or anything about anything concerning Dr. Mom Consulting. If you know anyone that's going through, you've heard their story through what Dr. Ashely was saying today, please send them her way. And as usual, please subscribe and we see you every other Thursday. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Purpose Podcast with Dr. Jazz, where we journey to purpose together. I just want to leave you all with this. I am a purpose coach. I know I don't talk about it much, but I have been doing this podcast for 3 seasons, and I have had my own purpose coaching business for all 3 seasons. So if you need help finding your purpose, developing your purpose, figuring out what you're on earth to do, click the link in the show notes and book a free consultation session. My Purpose Coaching is a 6-week coaching class where you'll meet with me one-on-one for 6 weeks, where we develop your purpose, looking at your past, looking at your future, and I promise you will leave there knowing clearly what you are put on earth to do. If you are interested in that, again, click the link in my bio and sign up now. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.